My name is Umar Said, and I'm a software engineer at Girimo. It's a community organizer. So today we'll talk about Kotlin, what you need to know. I have been writing Kotlin since 2017. Kotlin was made official, I think, around 2017 for Android as official language for building Android apps in 2017. At that time, I was skeptical about the language. Is language just to stay? Is it? I didn't know. I was just scared to try it out. So 2018, I decided to just give it a try, and ever since then, I don't think I've written any program on Android, any app on Android related to Java. So before I start my talk, I normally used to play this video. Let me see if I can share again with audio. Okay. So this video is a highlight on Kotlin Conf 2017. So I'll play it just for a few minutes.
Welcome to Kotlin Conf. This is our first ever Kotlin conference, and I'm really excited to say that we've actually sold out.
Just like you, we try really hard to provide the best experience we can for our users. Sometimes we seem to do it right.
We had over 150 submissions for talks from 110 speakers.
It is awesome, but even more numbers show that Kotlin is getting popular really fast.
Earlier this year, Android announced first-class support for Kotlin. If you've ever written Kotlin code, you already know why.
Kotlin is a programming language that we built at JetBrains.
It provides a very easy way to write functional code. What I like most about Kotlin is its readability.
The compiler figures out all the difficulties for you, and you simply think about business logic.
It feels like a modern language. It's super easy to get started and get your team on board.
Kotlin is an incredible fit for Android because it is so mature and production ready. Already, 17% of projects are using Kotlin. And for us, Kotlin growth is accelerating.
It's wonderful being able to come to San Francisco and meet so many people that are so excited about Kotlin.
It's been great to see the community. We've had amazing discussions about different technologies, not just in Kotlin.
Wonderful people from Gradle, Corda, and so many others helped us drive Kotlin to where we are today. 1,200 people for the very first Kotlin conference is impressive, right?
The party last night was so colorful. It has a live music, and there's a lot of people that you can talk to and learn from them.
There are so many more apps now using Kotlin in production, from startups to Fortune 500 companies.
We've found that using Kotlin has made it much simpler to achieve the kind of code quality that we're looking for.
I just started, but I feel like I have a lot of hopes, and I want to learn a lot.
The more you get to know it, the more you love it, and you see how useful it can be in making the types of things you're doing every day more concise and also just more fun.
This is a landmark of its popularity.
Okay, this is a highlights video on Kotlin conference that happened in 2017. It's really fun, and this is studied how far Kotlin has really gone, and people are using it. That is even 2017. And imagine now how people are really using it. So before Kotlin, what mostly happened to Java programmers? is when you want to write your basic program in Java, you have to go through the steps of creating a class. When you create a class, the class will be there. You need to call in public static void main, passing your arguments, and then if you want to display an item, just to display it, just to print out a message, you have to do something like system.out.print slim, and you pass in. That was very tedious. And apart from that, when you have an array of numbers, for example, and for you to get like the largest number in the array, let's assume we have about five numbers, which is 1, 6, 7, 9, and 10. So in Java, for you to do that, it's way different than Kotlin. So all you just have to do is just call the array and add an extension function dot max, and it will go through that array and it will just print out the max for you, get out the maximum number for you. Very easy. There are a bunch of stuff that Java developers really find it tedious that Kotlin has really solved for us. So we'll look at history of Kotlin, how it all started. And so Kotlin is a cross-platform, statically typed, general purpose programming language and runs on JVM, Java Virtual Machine. Kotlin was developed by JetBrains, that's the makers of IntelliJ IDE and other powerful IDEs like PHP, Webstone, PyCharm, and the rest. So the first commit dates back to 2010. That's how old Kotlin is, but was first publicly seen around 2011. People started noticing around 2011, and from that period, people started having interest to look into the language and were really overwhelmed with how simple and easy it is to use. So why did Google make it official all of a sudden from nowhere in 2017? They decided to make it official. Why? The first one is awesome features such as nullable types. Nullable types in the sense that you write a program, you don't know what it's supposed to return, and you just leave it like that, and you run the app, it crash, you don't know what to do. You find a way to fix it, as in Java. With nullable types, it will be able to protect you from doing that. It's concise, easy to use. Data classes, which replaces your normal Pujo classes. Then so many bunch of them that we'll talk about here. So great community support. It has overwhelming community support. Then there was an overwhelming request for Kotlin. People are sending requests, and it officially supports Android. I think last time I checked, most of the classes that Android has are migrating it to Kotlin. Everything is changing to Kotlin. So try to know Kotlin. So what is Kotlin? What is it? Is it a framework? Is it a language? Or what is it? So Kotlin is a cross-platform, statically typed. So what I say by cross-platform, I mean, you can build an app and run it on everywhere, be it your server, your Android, your iOS, your web backend with one code base, statically typed, general purpose programming language. It's also based on the JVM language developed by JetBrains, as I said earlier, a company known for the creating of IntelliJ IDE, a powerful IDE for Java development. If you don't know it, try and check it out. It's a very powerful IDE. So in Kotlin, everything is completely an object. So hang on to that. I'm going to explain that properly in the next slide or upcoming slides. So Kotlin is very intuitive and easy to learn for Java developers. If you are coming from Java side, Kotlin is very easier for you. So what you need to do is just give yourself a 10 days trial. Don't say, okay, I'm jumping to Kotlin. Just count 10 days and set out what you need to achieve in that 10 days. And I promise you, you won't regret it, because that was how I tested Kotlin. I tried to give myself 10 days and see what can I be able to do with it. I went through the basic and it really made me productive. It's more expressive and safer, and it's highly interoperable. You can mix them together with your Java and Kotlin. But once you get use of Kotlin, I don't think you even need to even look at Java anymore. So these are some of the interesting features of Kotlin. So before I start, if you remember, I mentioned that in Kotlin, everything is an object reference type. We don't find primitive types as the ones we can use in Java. So look at, for example, what I mean by primitive types. In Java, when you're declaring a variable, we use int, boolean, double, and the rest. So in Java, they're not object, they're just a class on their own. But in Kotlin, your int, your double, all your data types, they're entirely objects, purely objects. So it's one of the number one fastest growing language. Over 50% of Android devs are using it. So try and look into it because it will be fun. So these are some of the companies that are using Kotlin, which we have Udacity, Netflix, so many of them, Lyft, Trello, and the rest. And I'm sure so many companies, this is just like a list, and so many companies are already using it. Even where I work, we are fully using Kotlin, purely Kotlin, no Java, purely Kotlin. So these are some of the companies that's using it. Pinterest, Foursquare, Trello, Netflix, Amazon, Uber, Basecamp. These are one of the major companies that we have that are using it. Job requirements. Job requirements since 2018, Q4 2018, it has been skyrocketing. Like, it's not dropping. Any job application try to apply for Android developer, you must find Kotlin as a requirement. You need to know Kotlin, not Java. You need to know Kotlin in order for you to get that job. Then at that time, I think back in 2018, after I finished learning Kotlin, I decided this was the first app that we did in, I think it's around that period, 2018. We used Java and we decided to move everything to Kotlin. So if you notice here, we have used about 15% of Kotlin and Java 84.4%. I think at that time, but now we have fully moved everything entirely to Kotlin. And this is a library that I built purely with Kotlin 100%. So this is a carousel image slide. Actually, I was working on a project on this, and to use this, it's kind of like, it took me time. So I said, okay, why don't I just make it a library and share it out to people to use in your Android app? So with this, you can easily put this in your app and get the images sliding by themselves. So this is how our Kotlin sample code looks like. You call in your font, main, passing your parameters, your arguments, array, string, just like doing Java public static void main string. You pass in your argument inside, and your code goes in there, and you're good to go. But as of Kotlin 1.3, you don't have to pass the argument again anymore inside the brackets. Just call font main, your bracket, and your curly braces. You pass in the code. It's as simple as ABC. You do it this way. Very easy. And yes, it saves us a lot of stress in doing that. So this is one thing I love about Kotlin. It's very, very easy. If you want to do a loop, in Java, you have to do something like for int I, passing the length, passing how long you want it to iterate. In Java, in Kotlin, you just need to just write repeat, type just put repeat, put 3, and your curly braces, passing your print ln. So in Kotlin, you don't need to put system.out.println, just print, and that's all. It does the work for you. Kotlin rocks, and straight it prints 3 items for you using repeat. Just repeat, and that's all. It does the magic for you. So we're going to look at node safety. Node safety has been existing in Java for a very, very long time. And Tony Ho, one of the creators of the programming language Algol, did invent the null pointer exception. And in one of his book, or one of his interview, he made mention that creating null pointer exception is his $1 billion mistake that he has ever done in his life. So with Kotlin, you have been protected from that. So to do that, when you do this, var name, you call in your data type string, that is a non-nullable object, can't be null. You pass in name is cost null. This won't work. You try to run it, it will run. It will even be shouting at you that this code is wrong. It can't run. So what can you do to fix this? So in Kotlin, we introduce a question mark. Specify a nullable object by using a question mark, as it's been stated here, string and then question mark. Then Kotlin ensures that you don't mistakenly operate on nullable objects. We call in var length, name.length. We pass in the length of the string here. So it ensures that you don't mistakenly operate on nullable objects. Very easy and straight to understand. Don't worry, we'll talk more on this. And finally, as long as we have been rescued, that part has been existing in Java for a very long time, and we just have to find a way to manipulate it. But this now solves the problem for us. So this is how you can, if you want to check for null types, that's accessing properties in nullable objects, you call in your var name string with a question mark is cost to null. So this is how we declare our variable. Is either I use var or var. I'll talk about these two later on. Then you specify your question mark is cost to null. Then you go in again, var length. That's you are trying to check if the name is not cost to null, then the name should return the length of that name, else it should return 0. So you're setting a condition that if you pass in a name and there is no length, or maybe like you enter empty strings, there is no name, it's going to return 0 instead of the length. So your app won't crash or your code won't crash. Then addressing properties in a loop objects, that's making safe calls. If you want to make safe calls in your objects, all you just have to do is use the question mark and the dot to safely access a property method on a nullable object. So what we did here is we assign this var name to string and we add in our nullable check. Then var length is equals to name question mark dot length. So if name happens to be null, the value of length is 0, which is an infinite integer. Length will be null if it were of another type. So if we should specify another type, it's going to be null. Then the other one is using Elvis operator. So this reads as if the name is not null, if this name is not null, use name.length, else use 0. So this is just basically what it's doing here. Var name, we're setting a string with a question mark, then var length, name.length. So this is what we're trying to check. If the name is not null, use name.length, else this is the ellipse operator, you should use 0 for us. So the name, this is very fun. The name ellipse operator came from this guy here, Elvis Presley. He's a singer, and they just decided to use his hairstyle because his hairstyle resembles a question mark, and they use this straight. I don't know why, but it's kind of fun. So, using the assertion operator, this read as if the name is not null, use name.length, else throw a null pointer exception. So we're trying to use this. We set it to null, and then we pass in the length, and the name where we inserted the assertion operator inside, then dot length. So if you put this deal this way, and if the name is not null, you should throw a null pointer exception error. Use name.length, else throw a null pointer exception error. So what our advice is, be very careful when you're using this operator because it's going to throw an error for you. Each time there is a crash, it will just automatically crash the app. It won't handle that condition for you. So just use this wisely where you think it's necessary. So our advice to use your ellipse operator, that's for checking, and then you stick to your null check. So you can only have null pointer exception in Kotlin if you explicitly throw a null pointer exception. That is one. You make use of the assertion operator, that is 2. Then an external Java code causes the null pointer exception. These are 3 ways you can generate a null pointer exception in your app or in your code. So we have what we call string interpolation, which is what you all know, joining 2 strings together. So in Kotlin, we call it templates. So to join your 2 strings together, this is how you just do it. Hello, $, comma, and you pass in your name. Very easy. But in Java, you have to go outside, put a plus sign, and do the necessary things I want to do outside there. You can still do this in Kotlin. That is, if the spirit of Java is still inside you, it hasn't yet escaped, you are still doing this. You can still do this, but it will warn you that you can make it this way instead of doing it this way. Very easy. So we look at immutability. Immutability simply means that things you create can't be changed. It can't be changed, which means our constants. So we need immutability because it helps us with tree safety, no synchronization issues. When you're fetching an editor online, and take a look at, for example, in your code, set it to change, and there are some places that you don't want them to change, your app will start shaking and it will lead to crashing. That's where immutability comes in. Then it's good for value objects that simply hold value. That's your Pojo class, plain old Java classes. Then it helps in debugging thread application without losing your hair easily. So how does it work in Java? This is how it works in Java. Your final classes, the immutability, your private fields in your classes, no setters, only getters are immutable. So immutability in Kotlin, let's see how it looks like. So it's either you use var or val. So when you run this program, certain val name, certain Umar, then you assign it to name, you want to change it to uppercase. This will return an error. Why? Because val cannot be reassigned. It cannot be reassigned. For var, it can be reassigned. It works fine. Name, you pass in the name is equals to name.to uppercase. This works fine. So when you do it this way, immutability works this way, but not this way. So in collection, there is immutable and mutable in collections. That's your array, your list. To do this, so I'm going to use list of here. Val unchangeable hobbies is equals to list of your passing, which is coding, hiking. Then you passing what you declared here, unchangeable hobbies dot add. You can add. Why? It is immutable. The app, it warn you. Let me say warn you. You will see a red error that you can add that because it doesn't exist. So to make it mutable, that you can be able to add and change, all you just have to do is call mutable list of, mutable list of, array of, mutable array of. There are so many. So inside Kotlin, you get used to this. Reading, running. And we want to add our hobby as traveling. So with mutable list of, you can easily add traveling as your hobby straight. So this is how it looks like. This is how the code looks like in Java versus Kotlin. So class is final by default. Take note, class is final by default in Kotlin, but in Java, it's not. You have to state it. That's why we have public final class. Val implies that the parameter are final, which is we have val and we have val here. And here in Java, we have final, as well as values can't be assigned. So once you set in val name and val age, the value cannot be reassigned. Same thing goes here again. It cannot be reassigned. So take a look at this. This is Java. This single line of code in Kotlin is what represents this in Java. This is interesting. This is to tell you how simple Kotlin is. Just this one line of code does this whole bunch of lines of code for you easily. So give Kotlin a try if you haven't. So we have functions. Functions are our method that we use in Java. So a function is declared using the fun keyword. We said fun, passing the name of the function. So method parameters use name.type notation. If you're coming from Java, this goes this way. It's type, data type, then the name. But in Kotlin, it goes the other way. Is the name, the variable, then the data type. So we set in our param as string here easily. Then our return type are specified after the method definition. In Java, our return type is defined somewhere around here, but in Kotlin it's been moved to here, which is very interesting. You pass the return parameters there easily. Then we have what we call infix functions. So we can use functions as an arithmetic operator, that is using it without writing dots and parentheses. So this is infix function. All you just have to just call an infix fun int.times, passing your variable and data type and your return type, which is our return is we want to square the same number, which is this times x. So to use it, all you have to do is just val product is equals to 2 times 5, which multiply what we have. You just call this function 2 times 5 and it will print out the value for you. You don't have to go and do it the other way. So this handles this infix function. Then we have what we call extension function. Again, extension function is a member function of a class that is defined outside the class. So we have another fun int.square. So this is going to be like a square root of the same number. And this return this multiply by this. And this is how to use it. You call in your val square 2.square. This square that we define here, you call it 2.square and you print in the square here easily. This is very amazing. So there are other bunch of functions. We have higher order functions. There are lambdas. I think lambdas were introduced in Java. I think it's Java 11 or 13. I can't remember. Lambdas was introduced in Java at 13, but there's lambdas in Kotlin easily. Then there's inline functions, so many. But for now, focus on the one I just showed you. Just start with them, and the rest can come in later. So there's still lots to discover. So many string templates, flow, coroutines, interface, so many of them. But what I advise is take it step by step. Don't rush yourself. Rush yourself, you accomplish what you want to accomplish. Take it step by step. So iterators, if you want to loop through item, this is how we do it in Java. For it, I is equals to 1, I less than or equals to 10, I plus plus. For Kotlin, in Kotlin, we do this with for I in 1, 2 dots, 10. It will do this for you, this long line of code. Then this is another way, less than 10. Then for I in 1 until 10. So you are trying to, this again is for going like going back in the descending order. That's 10, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So honestly, 10 down to 0. So if you want to be taking two steps, all you have to do is just for I in 1 dot 10, take it 2 step. The same thing again for I in 10 down to 1, you should take step 2 step. So this is how easy Kotlin is compared to this. This is, if we should show this to someone that's just starting programming, he'll be scared. But this looks very welcoming to someone that's just starting programming. One expression, we use one expression, which is switch expression in Java. This is how switch looks like, and this is how one expression looks like. All you have to do is just passing this when, passing the score, and then defining 9, 10 in 6.8. And look at the spaces we are leaving here. I don't know who's going to occupy it. Well, it looks not too good here, but it looks too good here because there are no spaces and not consuming any spaces. So conciseness, we look at conciseness in Kotlin. Conciseness in the sense that when you're trying to create a method in Kotlin, you have to put a void, this public void, do something. You have to do this, like you must put this void in Java. In Kotlin, you do something, you put in your units, that's, you should return void, which is nothing. Then you came in again, you don't need unit anymore. Unit is now eliminated. You don't need it. Just call in for do something and do the magic for you straight. Then when you're trying to do your getters, setters, your Pojo class, that's your plain old Java class. This is what you do in Java: public string, get name, return name. This is your return type, and we have our return type here in Kotlin. You don't need to specify the return data type to automatically detect it for you by itself. And curly braces is gone. Can you just see how good the code just became short from about 1, 2, 3, and became one line of code. But this is achieving this. Yeah, wait, what? This is really interesting. Don't be scared. It's fun. When I saw this, I was scared too also, but it's fun. So we'll look at Kotlin class again, how Kotlin class work. We have our data class here in Java by the right, and we have our Kotlin class and our Java class here on the left. So this is your Java class here, and this is your Kotlin data class here. So what this is entirely doing, you set your string name, you get the name, you set the name, and you pass it to string to this data class handles this entirely. It handles everything that is happening here easily. Moving on. So if you have decided to stick to your regular class in the computer class does everything for you. If you are new, we are still in the spirit of saying that you are going to stick to your do your Java class looks like it's easy. So you can do it this way, passing your get name length, your set name, your get, and everything. This is normal class compared to this. So you don't need to do put this return, you don't need to put your return type, and you don't need to put this your return type. It will automatically detect the return type for you easily, name of length, and in one line of code, you get your name length. Very short and precise. Very short and precise. So I've already covered everything about Kotlin. So how can I get started? There are important places to learn. This is a place called Tutorial Points. It has a basic introduction of Kotlin. You can check it out and you can see how it looks like. Very easy. Then there is this book, Kotlin for Android Developers by Anthony Oliver. I think I forgot to, maybe I will share the book. I'll share the URL to the book so that I can easily download it, and before the meeting ends, I'll share the link to the book and you can, this is the book that I use to learn Kotlin. The book is straightforward. So in the book, it's going to talk about how you can build an app from chapter 1 to the end of the chapter. So every chapter has a feature that you're going to be implementing in that app. So I'll share the book, the URL to the book, and you guys should download it. Then there's this place, Quan, where you will brush up your Kotlin skills to try it and see how it looks like. Then, if you are not a fan of reading text materials when you're learning, there is a university course called Kotlin Bootcamp for Programmers. There's a video there, very, very introductory. You can check it out there. Then we have developer.android.com/Kotlin/learn. There too contains basic introductory stuff today on Kotlin. Then compilations. These are some of the things that we use under the hood. You won't see it. It will be compile your code. We use Kotlin JVM to compile our code. For JavaScript, we use Kotlin JS. And then on Android, we use Kotlin Android to do the whole compilation for us. Then the Kotlin native, it builds the whole from a multi-platform app for us. So this one for multi-platform, you can have your common code base, based on build your Android with Kotlin JVM, then your browser, your websites or web app with Kotlin JS, your iOS app with Kotlin native, your server side with Kotlin JVM easily. IDEs that have been supported: Eclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ IDE, Android Studio, which is official. IntelliJ, for me, I haven't tried it in NetBeans and Eclipse, but IntelliJ and Android Studio, I've tried it and it works very perfect. Then the build tools, this is also under the hood. We have Apache Ant, Maven, Gradle, Phone. So I've already used Gradle. I haven't tried Maven and Apache Ant. So we want to stay updated on Kotlin. There is this site, kotlinweekly.net, where you can get more updates on Kotlin, and then Kotlin Conf, also kotlinconf.com, get more updates on Kotlin there too also. So in summary, Kotlin is interoperable with Java 100%. It reduces boilerplate code. You don't have to write so many bunch of codes. It's object-oriented and procedural. Safety code, yeah, no semicolon. If you notice all the code I'll be sharing here, you don't have to go through the sets of semicolon anymore. Yeah, no more semicolon. Expand your skill sets. Perfect support with Android Studio and Gradle. Very easy to get started with Android development. So these are some of the libraries that we have in Kotlin. So this is Anchor, which reduces boilerplate code like find view by ID and rest. And under Android extension functions also it automatically generates your view, your reference view in your Android app easily. Then Ktor, which is a server side library when you're building app that's to do with Kotlin on server side. Then finally, you have three options. The first option is decide Kotlin is not for you and you continue with Java. The second option is try to learn everything on your own, which is what I did. Then the third is go online, visit any mock websites, and pick it up from there and learn. So these three options, it's now left for you to decide. Okay, I want to stick to my Java. I want to try Kotlin, everything on my own. I want to go and learn on mock websites. Thank you very much. Questions? Questions?
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Umar, for that wonderful session. We'll be waiting to the end of the talk, the end of the session before we take questions.
Okay.
I don't know, will you still be available till then?
Oh, what time is the call ending? The program, what time is it?
Should be, we're supposed to end, we had plans for 4 to 5, but now it's almost 5, and we still have our second speaker who's going